Okay, so it's Batman month. Last week we did 1966 Batman, and this week we're doing 1989 Batman. So here's how we did it. This is the opening scene from Tim Burton's first Batman film. We cast TJ Smith. He's a big YouTuber, so we're excited to have him on board in this role.
I feel pretty good. You know, this is a good shoot, good experience. I got to actually be Batman, and probably the most authentic suit that you'll ever see in any kind of homemade thing.
It was all about making this perfect costume. We wanted to get it just right. So we started by making the mask, then built this mask entirely out of cardboard and tape and spray paint. You make all the shapes, cut them out, and it's all kind of a big puzzle. You kind of figured out all the geometry of this thing. You got the eyebrows and the eyes, and then you got the ears coming up, and just the way this fits together, and the way this is gonna fit on someone's head, and how it connects to the neck and to the shoulder piece. Once we saw it, even before it was painted, we knew that is Batman, and that's Tim Burton's Batman. It's very specific looking. Then you just add the logo, which is just yellow with some black markers, and then the Batman cowl is complete. When it came time to put this whole headpiece on TJ, we realized that it didn't actually fit very well. Ben and I have kind of small heads, I guess, so we build these things on ourselves because we had never met TJ before it was time to film this.
It's really hard, like right here. Oh, okay.
We realized that we had to make some adjustments at the last minute, so we sort of had to cut it open and then retape it to make the whole thing fit. The rest of the outfit is fairly easy. You've got a black long sleeve shirt to get the shape of his abs and his pecs and everything. I just cut out some little individual pieces of cardboard, spray painted in black, and glued them right to the shirt. So that's pretty easy. You just put the shirt on, and then you can put a whole mask and everything on top of it. And then the cape tucks underneath the neck piece and sort of just tapes onto his shirt there. And then the bottom of the cape, you just cut the kind of bat shapes out of, because when he holds it up, you can really see those specific shapes. And then for the parts where he lifts the cape all the way up, we just stuck some poles in the end that TJ can hold on to, so that way you can really extend it all the way up and just flip those poles up, and then the whole thing spreads out. Then it's just black pants, and then the utility belt really ties it all together. So this is just a regular belt that we spray painted yellow, added the little buckle and some little thingies on the side, some pieces of plastic, and then of course the boots, which are left over from our Matrix scene. These are awesome boots that I got at a thrift store and are painted black. But let's not forget the gloves. Now these gloves were made for last week's episode for 1966 Batman. They're just gloves that were cut with parts of a woman's boot on the side with the little blade thing sticking out, but we painted them blue for last week, but now we got to paint them back to black to use with this Batman costume.
Michael Keaton, Adam West.
And then once you really spread out the whole cape, this is just the perfect Batman. For the two crooks, we have YouTubers Jimmy Tatro and Mikey Bolts. These are popular guys on YouTube, so we thought it'd be kind of a funny cameo to have them get beat up by Batman in this. Their outfits were pretty easy. It's more just like generic thug stuff, bad guy stuff. So we pulled together some long sleeve shirts and some button-ups and some big jackets that we had. Actually, the one that Mikey wears is the black motorcycle jacket that we used in our Terminator scene. Oh, and then they have fingerless gloves, which are just some cheap black gloves that I cut the fingers out of, because it's cheaper than buying actual fingerless gloves. Mikey wears a blue beanie, and then Jimmy wears a cool curly wig.
Oh yeah, this is a pretty stylish crook, dude.
And a hat on top. The hat isn't quite the same as the one in the scene, but I just found a regular hat and spray painted it brown and green. He has a really sweet earring, kind of like a hoop deal with like a feather hanging down. So we made this thing out of wire that sort of hoops onto his earlobe, but then it actually attaches to his ear, kind of like a Bluetooth. So it's actually hanging onto my whole ear here, so that it can actually stay on his ear, and so that he can swing it around and dangle it. And then these two crooks in this scene are like, they look like zombies practically.
I don't know if I'm a zombie or tweaked out.
So it's a lot of just white makeup, and then some red around the eyes for Jimmy, and then a lot more red on Mikey. I don't know what this guy's problem was in this scene, but he's got like sores, and it's really gross.
I got this.
Oh, sweet.
Don't worry about me.
I forgot my gun.
You just stand there and chill.
We decided to shoot this whole thing just here in the house, kind of black out the windows, make it nice and dark, and then put a smoke machine up and just kind of make it look like an alleyway or whatever, and just find whichever doorways and nooks and crannies we were gonna shoot in. So some of these takes are really long. Like the opening shot, for instance, is really long. They're sitting in front of my fireplace. They have to get all the movements, all the lines just right, and all the pauses, and really get everything all in the right order. So that's the trick to matching these up, is really memorizing it down to the millisecond.
It was very tedious, like every little detail, we had to get it down pat, but made it like that much cooler, like being precise that way, so.
Now shut up. Shut up. Getting beat up by Batman was a little rough, but you know, you win some, you lose some. Just gotta roll with the punches, keep moving.
These guys are really good sports, a lot of falling and landing on the ground.
Oh, you right?
Uh-oh, Batman down, Batman down. TJ did that fall back. We did several takes until we got the timing just right, so he was great about that. When Jimmy falls pretty much flat on his face, he did that a few times and nailed it. There's a couple shots where Jimmy gets pulled and he's either laying on a furniture dolly or he's just laying on the ground, and we just yanked him and pulled him along the ground. And we even sprinkled some little cardboard and paper bag debris on the ground to make it look more like a rooftop. When Batman kicks the guy in the chest, we just put the big boot on Ben's hand. He just kind of actually punched him with the boot. Whenever we need someone to wear a shoe or boot on their hand, Ben's the one you call. Batman has a batarang in this. Now here's something we've never done before with cardboard, is actually peeling the top layer off so you can kind of show the corrugation. So that looked really cool. It's just some nice little details on the batarang itself. So then we've got the rope attached and it's just spray painted black. And then when Batman flips it open, it's kind of supposed to be like spring loaded. So we've got some little straws on there for some of the details that were painted black. And this thing actually popped open pretty good because the straws kind of hit against each other and then you could just sort of flip it open at the right time and throw it. Action. There's one shot that looks down where you see feet kind of dangling over the alley. So we just did that as like a forced perspective miniature kind of thing. So it's life-size feet dangling over this little street that we set up. So it's just a street and some dumpsters and some miscellaneous junk. I have a pretty sweet box of junk that we get to pull from a lot. And then we just pulled a little dog by because a dog runs by in that shot.
I think we got it. Good
That's
job, dog.
Wrap on the dog. For the side shot where you see his feet kind of swing out and dangle there, we just set up some chairs in a row and kind of made those into a ledge and faced it into my bedroom. We put some stuff in the background, kind of looked like that catwalk back there. And then Ben actually hangs off of a pull-up bar that we hung in the doorway, and then he actually just held himself up and just twisted around so that way his feet kind of swing around and out into the open. And then once we were finished with that shot, we used the same exact doorway and just tore it all down and set up the next shot. One of the crooks gets kicked through a door, so we just set up some strips of cardboard that break away in the middle so that he can just fly through into the bedroom and just go through the cardboard. Ben couldn't see where he was going, you know, he's the stunt double for the bad guy.
Stunt Ben.
So we set up some pads and the couch cushions and some pillows, and then at the right moment when he bursts through, Bosco throws some extra cardboard and stuff right as he lands through it. He just flies through that door backwards, couldn't really see where he's going. I think the first take he kind of rammed into the door and then actually hit the side of my bed. Yeah, I think he hit the wall pretty hard. At the end of the scene, when the crook looks over the ledge down into the alley to get that wide shot, we just went out and shot it over the fence looking into the backyard so Jimmy could just pop up over the fence. It's kind of a funny mix of indoors and outdoors and trying to make it all look like night, but that's just on the fence, obviously. So that's pretty much how we did it. Let me know if you have any other questions. And special big thanks to our YouTube guest stars, TJ Smith, Jimmy Tatro, and Mikey Bolts. You guys are awesome. Thanks for helping out. Be sure and check out their channels. There's links below. And stay tuned for the rest of the month. It's still Batman month. Next week we have a scene from The Dark Knight. It's Joker's pencil trick, so you want to see that. And we have a special contest coming up, so stay tuned for that too. Let's go to the montage. That's not Batman. It's Batman. Ow.
Alfred, why did you make this out of cardboard? This is not sturdy at all. What's wrong with you? I can't even get it wet.